Millions of Americans are buying honey every single week. Most of it isn't actually honey. If you've been spreading it on your toast, it could be silently damaging your gut. Stirring it into your morning coffee could affect your liver. Drizzling it over your oatmeal might hurt your immune system. And the brand you've trusted for years, there's a federal lawsuit that says what's inside that jar isn't what the label claims. In today's video, we're exposing 12 of the worst honey brands Americans are buying. Products that look pure on the label tell a very different story in the laboratory. At the end, I'll reveal 3 brands you can actually trust. Plus, I'll show you how to spot fake honey in seconds, just by reading the label. The FDA has documented this fraud. They've known about it for years, and they are doing almost nothing to stop it. This is the honey truth the industry doesn't want you to hear. Number 1. Sue Bee Honey, America's most recognized honey brand. That bear-shaped bottle has sat on kitchen tables for over a century. 4 generations of families buying it without reading a single word on the label. Sue Bee long ago bypassed skepticism entirely. In 2011, Food Safety News commissioned forensic pollen analysis on American honey brands. They sent samples to Vaughn Bryant, a melissopollinologist at Texas A&M University. His finding on Sue Bee was scientifically unambiguous. 0 pollen. Pollen is honey's biological passport. Every genuine batch contains microscopic grains unique to specific geographic regions. A forensic analyst can identify whether honey came from Midwest clover fields or Chinese industrial apiaries just from pollen alone. It cannot be faked. It cannot be replicated. When it is gone, the entire accountability chain disappears with it. Removing pollen requires ultrafiltration, heating honey to extreme temperatures and forcing it through microscopic filters that strip every biological marker of authenticity, simultaneously destroying the diastase enzymes and glucose oxidase that give real honey its documented nutritional value. The European Union ruled that ultra-filtered honey does not legally qualify as honey at all. In 2021, a federal class action lawsuit was certified against Sue Bee's parent company, the Sue Honey Association, charging their 100% pure honey label was fraudulent. They never addressed the 0 pollen findings, never disclosed their sourcing countries, never published independent laboratory verification, just a bear-shaped bottle your grandmother trusted doing all the talking their legal team won't. Number 2. Winnie the Pooh Honey. Look at this bottle carefully, because what you are looking at is not just packaging design, it is behavioral psychology applied to a food product. Honey Tree Incorporated paid Disney specifically for one outcome: to make parents reach for this bottle without activating skepticism. A smiling cartoon character processes as a social signal of safety, not a product claim requiring scrutiny. It works with extraordinary efficiency. Vaughn Bryant's forensic analysis at Texas A&M found 0 pollen in Winnie the Pooh honey. Same result as Sue Bee, but with one difference that makes this finding uniquely outrageous. This product is marketed specifically to children. The ultrafiltration that removed that pollen also destroyed the glucose oxidase enzyme, responsible for honey's documented antimicrobial properties. What parents believe they are giving their children has had every marker of genuine nutritional value industrially processed out of it. And behind that smiling bear sits a supply chain rooted in a $1.80 per pound wholesale market, where that impossible price is achieved through adulteration sophisticated enough to evade standard glucose testing. Chinese honey has been repeatedly found containing chloramphenicol, an antibiotic banned in American food production since 1986 due to links with aplastic anemia, and fluoroquinolones with no established safe consumption level for children. Ultrafiltration removes the pollen identifying that origin. It does not remove every chemical those bees were exposed to. Honey Tree never responded to investigators asking about their sourcing or filtration process. The company that paid Disney for that bear could not answer what is inside the bottle it sits on. Number 3. Nature Nate's Raw Honey. This is the honey people buy when they already know about the fraud. The rustic mason jar, the raw and unfiltered label, the promise of something genuinely different from every cheap brand on the shelf below it. People seek Nature Nates out deliberately. They pay the premium willingly, which makes what a 2023 federal class action lawsuit alleged so specifically devastating. The lawsuit charged that Nature Nates honey, labeled pure and raw, had been adulterated with corn syrup and rice syrup. Rice syrup is the adulterant of choice in sophisticated honey fraud operations. It evades standard glucose and fructose testing. Standard laboratory panels look for corn syrup markers. Rice syrup slips through. It takes a nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy test to detect it reliably. This test costs hundreds of dollars per sample, which is exactly why the global fraud industry migrated toward it. Nature Nate's label says honey from trusted beekeepers worldwide. Worldwide is doing enormous legal work in that sentence. It discloses nothing while appearing to disclose everything. It could mean Texas wildflower fields. It could mean Vietnamese processing facilities receiving Chinese honey relabeled after crossing the border. This was done to avoid the $1.82 per pound anti-dumping tariff the US government imposed. This tariff was specifically because Chinese honey was found to be systematically fraudulent. Nature Nates never responded to the lawsuit allegations. The mason jar aesthetic was carefully designed to signal transparency. The label was carefully designed to prevent you from asking what worldwide actually means. Number 4. Dutch Gold Honey. Pennsylvania family business since 1946. Nearly 80 years on American kitchen tables. The kind of heritage that makes you reach for a product before your rational brain engages. But Vaughan Bryant's forensic pollen analysis found 0 pollen in Dutch Gold honey. Every biological fingerprint of authentic product deliberately removed. Then Dutch Gold became a named defendant in the True Source honey federal fraud case. The mechanism of that conspiracy is worth understanding precisely. Chinese honey faces a $1.82 per pound anti-dumping tariff when entering the United States. Imposed after federal investigators proved Chinese producers were flooding American markets with adulterated product, priced below genuine production costs. To evade that tariff, Chinese honey was systematically shipped to India, Vietnam, and Malaysia, relabeled with false certificates of origin, then imported into America as Indian or Vietnamese honey. Clean paperwork, 0 tariff, 0 additional inspection. The True Source certification program, the independent verification system specifically created to guarantee authentic honey origins, was itself implicated in the conspiracy. The watchdog was compromised. The verification system designed to catch the fraud became part of the fraud. Richard Adey, one of America's largest commercial beekeepers, told investigators directly, "I don't know of any producer that can sell pure honey at these prices. It just cannot happen." Dutch Gold has never addressed their 0 pollen results, never disclosed their sourcing countries, never explained how their pricing works against genuine production costs. Nearly 80 years of heritage on the label, a federal fraud conspiracy attached to the name, and silence everywhere that matters. Number 5. Store brand honey is everywhere. Kroger, Safeway, Publix, Albertsons, they all have it. A plain label, often found on the bottom shelf. Vaughan Bryant's forensic analysis found the same result across every store. Kroger Pure Clover, honey, 0 pollen. Safeway, Clover honey, 0 pollen. Publix, honey, 0 pollen. A systematic sweep producing identical findings every time. Now, let's discuss the economic reality behind that consistency. Genuine American clover honey costs at least $3.50 per pound at wholesale. That's before labeling, before bottling, and before distribution. Richard Adey, a large commercial beekeeper, said it outright. "I don't know any producer who can sell pure honey at these prices. It just cannot happen." The mathematics point to one conclusion: store brand honey exists solely for margin. There's no heritage to uphold, no premium positioning to defend, no health claims that need credibility, just the lowest possible input cost creating the highest markup. Store brand honey differs structurally from named brands. Sue Bee, Nature Nates, and Dutch Gold have reputations that hold them back. Store brand honey has no such constraints. The store name isn't a honey brand, it's a retail brand. It's applied to whatever the global honey market supplied cheapest that quarter. And right now, that global market is producing honey at prices that real beekeeping can't mathematically explain. Number 6. Wholesome organic honey, the green label, the fair trade certification, and the word organic in confident letters across the front. This is the honey purchased by consumers who did their research. They specifically sought out something that addresses every concern about conventional honey fraud. They paid a premium because organic certification promises what no other label can: traceable origins, clean sourcing, verified authenticity. But the USDA's National Organic Program acknowledged something in their federal documentation. Certifying honey as organic is particularly difficult to enforce. Certification is based on what the beekeeper claims, not what the bee actually did. A bee foraging 3 miles from a certified organic hive crosses onto conventionally farmed land without filing paperwork. The certification cannot follow it. In countries like Brazil and Mexico, enforcement infrastructure for organic standards is a fraction of what exists in the United States. Certifying bodies have issued organic certificates to operations bearing no resemblance to organic farming practices. The certificate travels with the shipment. The farming reality stays behind. Independent testing flagged organic labeled honeys as among the most likely to have been ultra-filtered. Ultrafiltration removes the pollen that would verify the organic origin charged at premium prices. The Fair Trade certification addresses labor compensation but says nothing about pollen content. A product can carry Fair Trade certification and fail every scientific test for genuine honey. Wholesome has never published independent pollen analysis of their organic product. The green label is making promises the supply chain cannot keep. Number 7. Manuka Doctor. MGO certified, medical sounding name, premium shelf placement. Americans buy Manuka honey specifically for documented antibacterial properties. For wound healing, for immune support during illness. They are treating it as medicine, not food, which makes the underlying mathematics of the Manuka market impossible to ignore. New Zealand produces approximately 1,700 tons of genuine Manuka honey annually. Over 10,000 tons are sold globally every year. Dr. Peter Brooks, Australian honey researcher who has studied the Manuka market extensively, stated it plainly. There is more Manuka honey sold in the world than is produced in New Zealand. The math is impossible. Independent laboratory testing of Manuka products found only 1 in 7 was genuinely authentic. An 86% fraud rate on a product Americans are buying for medical benefits. The MGO rating printed on every jar, the number supposedly guaranteeing antibacterial potency, can be artificially elevated by adding synthetic methyl glyoxal to ordinary honey, a deliberate chemical intervention transforming cheap adulterated product into premium-priced medical claims. Testing for synthetic versus naturally occurring methyl glyoxal requires high-performance liquid chromatography with mass spectrometry, a test costing significantly more than the retail price of most Manuka products on American shelves, which means verification costs more than the product itself. The fraud scales because verification doesn't. Manuka Doctor has never published independent third-party verification of their MGO ratings from a laboratory with no financial relationship to the company. The medical sounding name is psychological engineering. It creates perceived authority the product chemistry has not earned. At $25 per jar, that authority is not just borrowed, it is expensive. Number 8. Kirkland Signature Honey. Costco members do not just shop at Costco, they defend it. They convert friends. They genuinely believe the Kirkland name represents superior products. That belief is backed by annual membership fees. Kirkland Signature, honey tested with 0 pollen. Same ultrafiltration, same hidden origins, same result as bottom shelf discount brands. When Costco decides a product standard matters, suppliers comply. Costco has extraordinary purchasing power. They enforce standards when standards matter to them. The 0 pollen result in Kirkland honey is a sourcing decision Costco chose not to challenge. I don't know of any producer that can sell pure honey at these prices. Costco understands wholesale economics better than any retailer in America. They priced Kirkland honey knowing genuine production costs make those margins mathematically incoherent. They chose to prioritize margin over member trust. You paid annual fees for superior products. You trusted the Kirkland name specifically because it implied verification. The jar still has zero pollen. The membership bought you the same fraudulent product in a larger container. Number 9. Trader Joe's honey. No American retail brand inspires loyalty quite like Trader Joe's. Customers identify with it. They defend it in conversations. They relocate to cities and immediately locate the nearest store. That loyalty is built on a carefully constructed brand promise. Every product is curated. Every item is hand-selected by buyers who travel the world. They find the best version, so you don't have to. Transparency through curation, quality through selection. But Vaughan Bryant's forensic pollen analysis found zero pollen in Trader Joe's honey. The same result as Walmart, the same result as dollar stores, the same result as every brand their devoted customers would never be caught purchasing. And here is the contradiction that cannot be reconciled. Trader Joe's sources their honey internationally. They blend from multiple countries with no specific origins disclosed on the label, but their entire brand identity is built on knowing exactly what is in their products, on transparency, on buyers who verify what you cannot. That brand promise and an internationally blended zero pollen honey product cannot both be true simultaneously. One of them is marketing. Independent testing suggests which one. Trader Joe's is privately held. They publish no ingredient sourcing reports, no supply chain transparency documentation, no third-party laboratory results for any private label product. The cheerful handwritten signs and seasonal displays are the entire accountability system. Vaughan Bryant, the Texas A&M scientist who conducted the forensic analysis, stated unambiguously, "Ultrafiltration is not needed for honey. The only reason to do it is to hide the origin." Trader Joe's has never responded to questions about their honey's pollen content. The tote bag you carry at home in cannot filter out what the ultrafiltration already removed. Number 10. CVS and Walgreens honey. We need to address something happening to millions of Americans. You walk into CVS, into Walgreens, you pass the prescription counter. You see the pharmacist behind glass. Your brain executes an assumption so automatic you don't register it occurring. Everything in this building has been checked. Everything meets a medical standard. The clinical environment signals verification without requiring actual verification. That psychological mechanism is worth more than any ingredient a certification could ever be. Vaughan Bryant's analysis found zero pollen in both CVS and Walgreens store brand honey. Same ultrafiltration, same result as every discount grocery brand. But people do not buy honey at pharmacies for convenience. They buy it there specifically during illness, for sore throats, for children's coughs, for immune support when they are most vulnerable and trusting of anything sold in a medical environment. The ultrafiltration that removed the pollen also destroyed the glucose oxidase enzyme responsible for honey's documented antimicrobial properties. The beneficial compounds people specifically seek when purchasing honey at a pharmacy were industrially processed out before the product reached the pharmacy shelf. Neither CVS nor Walgreens has addressed independent pollen testing of their store brand honey, never explained their sourcing, never disclosed their filtration process. The pharmacist 4 aisles away checks every prescription with extraordinary care. The honey received no such verification, just borrowed medical credibility applied to a product that failed every biological test for authenticity. Number 11. Aunt Sue's raw and unfiltered honey. Raw, unfiltered, straight from the hive. That label promise built genuine consumer trust. People seek Aunt Sue's out specifically, pay premium pricing willingly. Recommend it to friends, because raw and unfiltered means nothing was removed. No processing, no industrial intervention, pure authentic honey exactly as bees produced it. But here is what Aunt Sue's never discloses on that label. They are owned by the Sue Honey Association, the identical parent company as Sue Bee, the brand facing federal class action lawsuit allegations. That their 100% pure honey product contains cheap syrup adulterants instead of genuine honey. 2 brands, 2 completely different market images. One corporate parent with a federal fraud lawsuit attached to its name. And then there is the word raw itself. In the United States, raw honey has no legal definition whatsoever, no federal standard, no enforcement mechanism, no required testing protocol. Any company can print raw on any jar containing any level of industrial processing and face zero legal consequence. The word that makes consumers trust Aunt Sue's more than every competing product, the specific word they searched for, exists in a complete regulatory vacuum. When investigators asked the Sioux Honey Association directly about their raw claims and sourcing practices, they refused to answer. The label says raw and unfiltered. The law defines neither term. The parent company says nothing. And the federal lawsuit alleging adulteration at their flagship brand remains unresolved. While Aunt Sue's raw honey sits on shelves collecting premium prices from consumers, who believe that word means something it legally does not have to mean. Number 12, we close with Fisher's deliberately, not because it is the worst brand on this list, but because it represents something more important than any individual brand. Fisher's is a regional American honey label, modest packaging, no corporate giant behind it, no global supply chain scandal attached to its name by federal investigators, just straightforward honey from a brand millions of families reach for because it looks exactly like what honest honey should look like. And Vaughan Bryant's forensic pollen analysis found zero pollen. Same ultrafiltration, same removed biological fingerprints, same hidden origins as every brand that came before it. That finding matters more than any other result on this list, because it proves the contamination is not limited to the brands that look suspicious, not limited to discount products, not limited to corporations facing federal lawsuits. The fraud has saturated every corner of the American honey market, every price point, every shelf, every label designed to earn your trust. When a modest regional brand with no scandal attached to its name tests identically to Sue B, to Walmart, to brands actively being sued in federal court, the investigation stops being about individual bad actors and becomes about systemic industry failure. The regulators are not protecting you. The certifications are not protecting you. The price you pay is not protecting you. The label promising purity is not protecting you. The global supply chain has made authentic honey so rare and fraudulent honey so profitable that the exception became the standard, and that standard is now being sold to you as normal.